Can I just start by saying thank you for this film?
Oh, thank
I've
you.
watched it twice, and I've cried every time.
Oh,
And the
my
second
goodness.
time I watched it, it felt like the first time.
Wow.
Honestly,
Amazing.
I haven't stopped going on about it.
Oh,
I
thank
love
you.
this
Thank
film.
you.
Wow.
So just thank you.
That means so
That
much.
means a lot. We
Yeah.
wanted you to like it. That's what
Yes.
matters most.
I love it.
Thank
Nice.
you so
I love it.
much.
So you've said, Lena, that everything in this film is intentional and on purpose.
Yeah.
Now, there are some parts in the film that I need answers to. I'm dying to know. For example, the juxtaposition of the scene between the sexual intimacy and the conflict. What was you trying to do there?
Just a reminder that even when the world is burning down, Black people are still falling in love. Yeah.
That is amazing. When the young Black boy killed the Black officer during the conflict, I questioned, why did he kill the Black officer? What was you trying to do there?
I always go back to, systematic racism, that one, it's not black or white. Once you put on that uniform, it's blue, right? And even as a Black officer, you're responsible for the sins of your colleagues and of that institution. And in that moment, Junior's just trying to make a mark on the world, and he just sees a cop that sees him as a monster.
The gas station scene, what was that about?
This really just talk about, I think, our society's fascination with guns and how they do make the weak feel powerful. Oftentimes when you hear about these horrific shootings, it's often like some frail, white male, saying. And so it's obviously someone, I think, who feels, even though even in their white maleness, feel disenfranchised or feel like they're being erased for some reason. And for some reason, a gun that they shouldn't necessarily have access to, they do, and it makes them kind of feel equal in some odd way. Yeah.
And throughout the whole film, there wasn't any mention of Queen and Slim as Queen and Slim or via their names up until the ending, where you have to listen very clearly to the news reporter.
Right.
I only noticed that on the second time I watched that.
Because you don't know a Black person's name until a police officer kills them. It took Trayvon Martin to die for us to know his name. Mike Brown, Sandra Bland, and that to me was a thing, because obviously we have this sort of thing about hashtagging names, obviously to speak these people's names when they've been taken too soon. But to me, I find it also hurtful and sad that we wouldn't know these people's names had a police officer not killed them unjustly.
Queen and Slim, why were they called Queen and Slim? Because they wasn't referred to Queen and Slim throughout the movie.
No. One, because they represent all of us, and so Slim is sort of a throwback term that I think, I don't know if it's American, but Black men will call each other that, sort of a vintage term. Like, what up, Slim? What's going on, Slim? And then with Queen, it's like, I feel like all Black women are queens. It's almost self-explanatory. And so Queen and Slim are almost like these sort of anonymous names you give them, so that way you see yourself in Queen, he sees himself in Slim, and so by the end of it, when they get taken, you feel like you've been taken away as well.
And you've both made it very, very clear that this is not a Black version of Bonnie and Clyde.
Right.
It's not a Black version of anything.
No.
Why do you both feel like it's so important to create this film now? You've mentioned there was an urgency when you was creating the film, that you need to put this out this year, this time now, to the producers that you was working with at the time. Why is it that you felt like we needed this?
It's a really singular story, It's a commentary on the society in which we live today. Hopefully by creating stories like this, it's not as relevant today as it is tomorrow. And so we wanted to give something that people related to, and that would create a dialogue that hopefully creates some change.
Yeah, and also, the thing with cinema, it is urgent, especially when it has something to say. And I think when you let art sit too long, it becomes stale. So it's important that, and also me and Melina are just urgent people, we're urgent type of artists. And so I didn't want to have this to sit in development or wait for it. I was like, I want to push it out and I want people to see it.
What would you say you've learned from this entire process? Because, as this would be your first major film for the both of you. What is the main thing you've taken from this journey, this process?
I always go back to the main thing I learned you taught me, which was to trust yourself, to trust your own instincts, to listen to that voice and try to silence the others. Because to make art that's powerful, it has to come from you, it has to come from your own soul.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is that, own your own power, know what you're worth. And, it's funny, we're not new to this. We've been grinding for a long time, and I think we've earned the right to make this movie the way we saw fit, and we did, and I think it really paid off.
Definitely did.
Yeah.
Thank you both so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. You're beautiful. So good to meet you.
Yes,
Lovely to
and
meet
great
you.
job.